Alright guys, Hogwarts Legacy just got a big new update and some awesome new rewards, but some of the old tricks and exploits have unfortunately been fixed. Also some excellent news about the game's future, the last gen launch that we're gonna talk about in this video, so let's jump right in. First things first, you want to make sure you don't skip out on the new cosmetics that Avalanche just activated, as these are only available between May 5th and June 1st, 2023. You'll get a chance to get Professor Ronen's cosmetic set from the new Twitch Drops campaign. I like the vibe on this one, it's really cool, comes with some nice pieces, and of course there are 6 in total that you'll have to claim. Every 30 minutes you watch a stream, you get to obtain a new reward from the set, and you'll have to claim the current one before the countdown timer starts for the next one. The good news is that you no longer need to wait for any developer streams for this set. You can get it by just watching anyone with Twitch Drops enabled. So a nice time to support some of your favorite content creators out there. Unfortunately, the previous Merlin cape is still tied to the Avalanche stream, so if you missed the one from yesterday, then you're kinda out of luck again. At this point, they should probably just activate that for all streams, unless of course they are planning for some future reveals too. Which I think is totally the case, as we will talk about later in the video. Do keep in mind, however, that you need both a Twitch account with the drops enabled as well as a Warner Brothers Games account, and also tie that to your Twitch account and then claim the rewards on both websites before they actually show up in game. But let's get right into the new update, as this adds over 500 fixes and some nice changes too. One of them is the Arachnophobia mode that you can now activate from the bottom of the accessibility settings. This now changes the appearance of all spiders into something a bit less creepy, so now they look like some kind of candy toys you would expect to see at Zonkos. They also removed the ground effect spawners of the small spiders, reduced and removed spider skitters and screeches, and made spider corpses invisible as well as collisionless to prevent players getting stuck into them with this activated. However, they still feature their former models in the field guide menu if you had a problem with that. A big fix is for the treasure chests that previously provided legendary rewards, and now they can be opened again if you open them once with a full inventory. Previously, this would cause them to bug out and you could no longer open them a second time, which would make you lose out on a ton of legendaries. Well, now if you do that with a full inventory, they give the error message as the usual, but they also go back to being closed. So this lets you reopen them once you freed up at least a slot, and you can grab the legendaries from inside without losing any of them. They also fixed the really annoying bug with Diffindo, which previously had a lot of trouble tracking and hitting targets, especially the ones that were falling or were lower below or even so lying on the floor. Now this correctly tracks them every single time, even hits the smaller targets on the ground with absolutely no issues. So glad they finally did that, because we were losing on a ton of DPS. They also did some laundry after students pointed out that robes looked dirty, and now if you go in game and check some of them, like house specific robes or any other robe, you will notice that they are in pristine condition, no longer with smudges or dirt accumulated on them, to the point that it's a little bit too clean. So I kind of wish there was an option to maybe toggle the dirt effects on them, but let me know down below what you think. One of my favorite glitches, unfortunately, the one that would let you go under the map from a special spot in Arendelle, has been fully fixed in the new update. This gap is still here, but there's now a rock preventing you from falling under the map. We used this before to get into other houses as well as reaching areas otherwise inaccessible. So yeah, unfortunately it's now gone, and there's probably gonna be another way to do it, but not this one. There's also a couple of fixes for some of the cosmetic options, including for the orange eye of Newt goggles, which appeared to be identical to the brown variant. So now they actually have different variants and they both look distinct. The same actually goes with the dragon eye spectacles, which similarly got a, well, change. One of them remains green while the other one has this bluish tint on it. Furthermore, if you ever play in the new update and fight some of these armored trolls, you will notice that they no longer teleport on the following swings after the first attack. They were notorious as being quite hard to dodge because of this, as they would instantly teleport right behind you following the second attack in the chain, and you could no longer gain any distance from them because of it. Well, that has been addressed in the new update, and they no longer do it, or at the very least it's a lot more manageable. They still kind of do it a little bit, but you can run further away and they will no longer be able to connect with your attacks. This, by the way, goes for both the second attack as well as the ground smash teleport that they would do at the end of it. Coming in though, they also resolved the Hogwarts South Battle Arena not having a check mark after being completed. If you finish that, you will likely notice that now it correctly displays the check mark like the other two arenas in the game. And if you ever had to go to the defense against the Dark Arts classroom, you will now notice that Gwendolyn the Weird portrait is fully animated. Previously, for some reason, it did not move at all. Well, now it definitely does, and there's some nice interactions in there awaiting. The patch is really lengthy nonetheless, but there's one more thing I want to focus on, which is NPC collisions. A lot of users reported that NPCs now finally react to being attacked by wands. I'm like 90% sure they already did since day one, but yeah, if you cast spells at them, they will flinch and even move, even look at you in disgrace. Interesting enough, you can blast off the candy out of their hands now, which I'm not convinced we had before. It's pretty funny to look at, but still not possible to attack other students at Hogwarts outside of dueling, so that's that. On top of that, I also noticed quite a lot of interactions that I wasn't getting before now popping off a lot more often, especially the ones involving professors and students. These existed prior to the patch, but for some reason were very rare and they barely triggered for me. Now, after the new update, they started popping left and right, so maybe some kind of fix. And speaking of fixes, one last big one is of course performance. This is a huge focus in the new update as all platforms are getting a ton of them. It seems that there are a lot of graphical fixes and optimizations that went into the game in the past few months, which makes sense because people with the old gen consoles have reported some pretty good performance, all things considered. So a solid 30 FPS on PlayStation 4 I'm seeing reports of, and on the Xbox One it isn't too far off either, with just a few extra dips below 30, but for the most part it's pretty stable from the looks of it. PC also gets some love, and the new update also comes with DLSS version 3, which was a huge step up from the previous iterations. Not like the latest version of DLSS 3, but rather 3.12, still great nonetheless. It seems Avalanche made a great call delaying the game on these platforms for a few months, which actually inspires a lot of confidence in their ability to launch a Switch port that actually does deliver on the performance side. The only thing I wonder now is how the game looks like on that platform. I'm really excited about the game's future because it seems Avalanche already started work on their next AAA game, as spotted by Game Rant a couple of days ago, which might be actually Hogwarts related. There are some hints in there that point towards a strong sequel for Hogwarts Legacy. It will be developed, of course, in the same Unreal Engine as the current game, and it's also multi-platform launch, including Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. Plus, the recent earnings call, the company revealed that Hogwarts Legacy sold over 15 million copies to date and amassed over $1 billion in sales, which is absolutely insane. Not even the company expected that. I don't think there's a chance that they will not ride this success train in the future, and on top of that, we also have at least a few potential million players from the Switch release and the old gen console release. Of course, this likely rules out the chances for any future DLCs, but I'd like to know your opinion on what you would prefer. Is it a DLC in like 1 or 2 years, or would you prefer to wait 3 or 4 years but for a full-blown sequel? In my case, I would prefer the latter rather than the former, but again, let me know your opinions in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.